Hey guys, what's up? It's MatchPoint here, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you 5 tips and tricks for anchoring in Rainbow Six Siege. So if you do find this video useful, consider dropping a like on the video, and if there are any topics that you would like me to cover next, or if you do have a specific topic that you are struggling with and would like some help for it, well, make sure to go ahead and comment it down below so I know to do them. If you are new around here, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the video. So let's get right on into it. Now first of all, for those of you who don't know, we're going to be starting off with, well, what is an anchor? An anchor is an operator in Rainbow Six Siege, and it is someone who will be able to hold and contest a certain area, typically the objective. As well as this, they are normally the last defender there for the team. The anchoring role is absolutely crucial to have in your team, and these 5 tips and tricks will help you to excel as the anchor. Now the first tip that I'm going to be giving you is that an anchor needs to know a good site setup. Now this will link in with map knowledge, however the anchor must know a good site setup in order to build a team a strong defence. After all, an anchor will be typically sitting on site, so it is important that they get a good site setup done. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, what does a good site setup entail of? Well, this is a variety of things. The anchor will need to know certain rotation holes for you and your team, as well as many different murder holes that the team should set up, including where the utility needs to be placed in order to delay their time, which we will be getting onto later. It is an anchor's job to bring some form of rotation in order for the team to make their way through the objective. Now remember, when I say that, it's the anchor's role to go ahead and do that. Not the roamer, not the lurker, not any other role. Whether the anchor needs to go ahead and bring impact grenades, or simply their shotgun to go ahead and make that rotation hole. The reason why it's so important that the anchor does this and not any other role is going to be because those other roles, such as a roamer for example, is going to need those impact grenades for different purposes. The roamer can use these for distractions and getting out of sticky situations, whereas the anchor needs to bring them for the site rotation, as they simply won't be able to use them elsewhere. Common examples of anchors are going to be Rook and Doc, which are fantastic examples, as Rook does in fact bring those impact grenades and is a 3 armor. Now moving on to the murder holes, which the anchor will need to go ahead and set up, and there are many of these to do so. These are very important for the anchor to have, as an anchor's role will typically be holding those long lines of sight onto the objective. Therefore, this murder hole will allow the anchor to go ahead and get a different line of sight, a unique one, where they can catch the attacker off guard. For example, there is a fantastic one right now on your screen from Cash looking all the way into Garage. Now the final part of the site setup tip is going to be the utility. Utility should be brought in order to go ahead and delay those attackers more and cause inconveniences for them. Now this may include traps or even something as simple as a deployable shield. Now I am going to be moving on to the second tip, which is going to be a trick that can allow you to make those larger rotation holes. Now when making your standard rotation hole, it can be quite slow and you would like a quicker way, of course, to go and do it. Now this rotation hole is going to work with a shotgun, not an impact grenade, only the shotgun. And the way it works is when holding out the shotgun, you need to be moving side to side when firing to make that rotation hole. If you're moving left and right and following that routine pattern, then you will be making that larger rotation hole, which is going to obviously speed it up and cause you to use less shots. As well, another little tip for making those rotation holes is that if you do have a shotgun, often players will actually go ahead and use most of their shotgun ammo to go ahead and make different rotation holes for different places. Now this isn't a bad thing to do at all, as long as that shotgun isn't going to be your main priority. In doing so, you'll be supporting the team and you will allow them to have a fluid rotation. Now the third tip that I'm going to be moving on to is going to be regarding impact tricking. I am going to be condensing this one down and letting you know how to impact trick in depth. Now impact tricking is when you will use that impact grenade to go ahead and destroy any attacker's Habana pellets, for example, or even a thermite charge. Now there are 2 big factors when it does come to impact tricking. First of all, it is going to be timing, and then second of all, it is going to be hitting a hard surface. Now impact tricking can be useful for a variety of things. It can go ahead and stop that pushing coming from the garage, for example, and there are quite a few sites when it is absolutely crucial that you do get this right. as often you want to find a different way in order to stop that hatch getting blown open or that reinforced wall. And it is in fact an alternative way of denying it, instead of using a bandit, for example, or even a cave. While it may counter Hibana and Thermite, it isn't going to counter Maverick. Now there are a variety of spots in which you can go ahead and impact trick on different maps. However, I'm only going to show you two just for timing, and I'm going to show you one for the hatch and one for a standard reinforced wall. Now if we are defending on the consulate garage and you are going to be an anchor with that impact grenade and you want to be denying that breach in. And very quickly, one more thing is that the impact grenade isn't going to reach across the whole garage wall, it's only going to hit that side or where it's nearest to. Now you can indeed see the drone hole over here. Now if the attacker was to go ahead and place their thermite or their Excorious pellets down, well, if it was placed down right by this drone hole over here and not on the other side of the wall, got to remember, if I was to go ahead and try to impact trick but it was on the other side of the wall, it would definitely not reach it. Now like I mentioned, if they do place it nearest to the drone hole and I go ahead and use my impact grenade to go ahead and slot it just through the drone hole, then I would be able to go ahead and destroy it. Now I will use my nitro cell as the example in case it was an Excorious pellet or a thermite charge. However, it is quite small, so it is going to show you that even when it is a small object such as a nitro cell, it can still reach. Now when you're thinking about impact trick in a hatch, it has got to be something that is going to have a breakable surface around the hatch. If it does have that breakable surface around the hatch, then you are going to be good to go. Now when you find the hatch that you're going to be impact tricking, remember to go ahead and actually break the surface around it with a shotgun or anything. And what you're going to do this time is you're going to wait for the attacker to go ahead and place down their Excorious pellets or their thermite charge, and then as soon as that has been done, you're going to throw your impact grenade up. However, you don't want it to get it slotting through the hole and directly just shooting upwards and landing down. Instead, it needs to be hitting a hard surface. Whether you decide to aim your impact grenade so that it hits a metal or wooden bar, whatever you do, as long as that it will hit that hard surface and then it will explode onto the breach charge. And for this example, I will be using that goo mine. Now the fourth tip that I'm going to be giving you is going to be regarding delaying time. Delaying time is absolutely crucial in Rainbow Six Siege. It can allow you to go ahead and delay their time and then cause the attackers to panic because of it. And it is a big factor of anchoring. Now a big factor of delaying the attacker's time when anchoring is going to be simply just your presence on holding that objective down. You are the last line of defense and you can put them off from pushing in simply because you're there holding down those tight angles onto them. As well, if they don't manage to push you off the site, and there are certain methods in which they might try to do that, such as their vertical play, if that doesn't end up working, then they are going to be looking thin. Their plan hasn't worked and they haven't got a backup one, therefore they're not quite sure on what to do, which will lead them to making those stupid plays and end up them playing into your hands. Furthermore, it's going to cause them to panic. They're not going to have a plan correctly and they're going to have to rush in and panic. As well as this, the utility that you bring to the table can also help in delaying their time, like I mentioned at the start of the video. For example, deployable shields can help to slow the enemy down, as they're not going to be able to push over it without them getting their body exposed. And as well, Goyo's Vulcan shields are amazing for delaying their time, and Goyo is a fantastic operator to use. I would also class him as an anchor, and his Vulcan shields can go ahead and delay the enemy's time further by them not being able to push over because of that fire. I would recommend exploding these and letting them off late on in the round. Now the final tip for anchoring that I'm going to be moving on to is going to be knowing entry points or common pushes. An anchor role should have some good game sense, and therefore they should know many common entry points that the attackers do like to push. Now this is going to come with experience as well, as there are going to be many situations in which you and your team on attacking will actually push through, and then you can recognise these and switch them into your anchoring role. Now a very great example is going to be on bank, when the attackers are going to be playing and pushing to the defenders who are going to be in the basement. Most of the time the attackers will push through CCTV so they can get early onto that site and make that plant. It is overall a fantastic push to do, and it can work if you have the right operators. Therefore, an anchor role should be setting themselves up to hold a long line of sight onto this angle and prepare their utility ready for that push. And because they have this game sense, they can set their team up. They can set the roamers up to come round for a flank, or whilst the anchor is getting ready for that long push. And that is going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you have all enjoyed. If you did, or you found this video useful, then make sure to leave a like on the video, and subscribe for more tips and tricks like this. Now if you would want to watch some more, well make sure to go ahead and check out my recent video. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye bye.